Hi, everybody. There's a number of ways that selling something internationally or globally is different than selling something nationally. In fact, there's 4 in particular that may affect the ability to sell something internationally versus nationally. First is that you're less familiar with customers. If you sell something around your neighborhood, you often have lived in that neighborhood. You have a sense of what that neighborhood's about, the people that live there, what they look for. In some ways, they look for the same thing that you look for. And for that reason, it can be easier to sell something in a local area. But when you go globally, it's a different culture, different lifestyle, different ambitions and perceptions. All of those translates into people looking for things that are different than what you're looking for. So to sell to those individuals that you have less familiarity with, it can be much more of a challenge. Doesn't mean that it's impossible, but certainly more of a challenge. That's why one way that you can overcome this barrier is to partner with somebody else who lives in that area. And so you would partner with a marketing firm or distribution channel in some way locally so that you can have a better understanding of who the customer is and how to market to that customer. Some of your profits are gone in that way, and this is one way where selling globally or internationally can be more expensive. Of course, you broaden to a larger market, so you often, let's hope, have more customers as well. Second is different distribution channels. And this just isn't the selling of the product, but also the marketing of the product. Traditionally, we've looked at television and radio and newspaper. Certainly online is becoming much more prominent, but there are certain areas of the country that you often need a more direct, personal approach to how you market a product. You often don't know until you get into the specific market. But once you do, you'll find out that this is something that you need to be concerned with. So different distribution channels, sometimes it's more difficult to identify the channel itself, and as a result, it can be more challenging to determine the right way that you want to sell your product. Third is that costs are higher and more unknown. When you work in an established marketplace like the United States, often your costs can be more determined. People are more upfront with the costs and the increasing nature of where costs can get out of control. But when you do work in some countries that don't have a sophisticated market, or certainly don't have the sophistication in channels, then your costs often are higher. There's added costs that you're often unaware of. And this is where the more unknown aspect of cost can be. Last is feedback. And one of the most important aspects, whether you're an employee or if you're simply looking to find a job, similar to if you're trying to promote a product, is feedback. Does the customer like our product? How can you tell if they like our product? Obviously, the ultimate barometer is whether someone is buying your product. If they don't buy your product, you know that the feedback isn't positive. But what you do want to find out is what they like about your product, how it can be made better, what they would hope is included in that product. And the more that you can get this information in a timely and appropriate manner, the better chance you have of selling globally. But feedback can be more difficult to judge in other countries. Some people may not be as open in sharing their feedback. They may not want to offend, or it's just not the nature of people to be critical. So feedback in other areas of the world can be more challenging. Those are the 4 that we see can be a challenge when you try to sell something, market a product or service globally as opposed to nationally. Less familiar with customers, different distribution channels, costs are higher and more unknown, and feedback can be more challenging to gauge. Thanks, everybody.